Play.
A few people have asked me for my thoughts on the Doom reboot, specifically the beta multiplayer component. I haven't played it myself, but I've seen a few videos on YouTube, and what it inspired me to do was go and pull out a copy of Unreal Tournament 2003 that I've had sitting in the cupboard for a few years after picking it up for a couple of bucks. And just as I thought, I can barely tell the fucking difference. I played the shit out of Unreal Tournament from the year 2000, played it for a couple of years, and then I was over it. By the time Unreal Tournament 2003 came out, I was definitely over it, and I never really played 2003. Going a bit further back, I did play Quake multiplayer a couple of times, and I never managed to play multiplayer in the original Doom. I didn't have an internet connection until the year 2000. Anyway, I think the comparison of Doom 2016 to the original Unreal Tournament is a lot more appropriate than comparing it to the original Doom or Quake, because the visual style is so similar. You know, what's funny, back in the day they used to call first-person shooters Doom clones, and people really were just copying the game pretty much wholesale. But now the latest Doom seems to me just like they've taken about 20 games from the last 15 or 20 years and just melted them all together into this one single quivering lump of flesh. It's like this cancerous growth of undifferentiated cells, all these cells that don't really do anything particular, but they just grow and fill a space and slowly suck the life out of its host. The look and feel of the game mechanics are far more horrifying than the demons that spawn within the game itself. But it's this horror that numbs you to the point where you barely feel that you are a conscious being anymore. It's completely uninspired. It appears to have no soul. I can imagine a room full of fat, sweating, middle-aged men sitting around a desk and talking about the features that should be in this game and how to capture specific markets. And they show graphs to each other to explain how this mechanic could increase profit by 5% and this mechanic could increase by 2%. And then they come to this agreement and send the instructions down to this dungeon where someone is whipping these poor developers until they have open sores, pieces of meat are just being ripped out of their backs. And you'd think this would inspire them to create something with heart, but instead they know that if they put 1 ounce of humanity into this game, 1 shred of inspiration and creativity, then this big meat hook is just going to drop out of the ceiling, pick them up, and drag them screaming into a pit of flames. Minus the current gen graphics, if this game came out in 1998, it would have been very impressive. But my first impression, and you did ask for my first impression, is that it's as if someone has written down all the tropes and cliches and conventions that have been repeated again and again for decades, and then fed it to their dog until they vomited everything all over the floor, and then they just made the game in the order that these chunks of vomit came out. Now, it's possible that the single player could be something completely different, and that really is the part of the game that I'm actually interested in. But after seeing this beta multiplayer footage, I really cannot imagine it being anything but a paint-by-numbers, cookie-cutter FPS abysmal piece of shit. What I'll do instead is play mods of Doom and maps made by people who just fucking get it.
Blue team is the winner.